Hello, everyone, and we just want to welcome you to another great episode. We're your hosts. I'm James Greene, and this is my lovely wife, Cynthia Greene, and we just want to welcome you today.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We're so glad that you stopped in with us today. You guys, we got some great stuff for you today. Just want to make sure that you hit that share button and invite your friends in to get in on the conversation. But we got an announcement before we get started. So we had told you a few weeks ago that we were rebranding and we're relaunching Breakfast with the Greens. So Breakfast with the Greens will now be titled, and let me put it up on the screen, Pillow Talk Lounge with James and Cynthia Greene. Yes. So we are switching over to Pillow Talk Lounge. So y'all, we're gonna have some really cool, juicy conversations for you on Friday nights on Clubhouse and Saturday mornings on Breakfast with the Greens, and we are just going to have some fun. Woo, y'all! Right. We're going to talk about some sexy hot topics.
Right, and what it was we just wanted to make sure that we cover the broad range of marriages and relationships, from different aspects, so to speak. And we don't feel we could have did that with just Breakfast with the Greens. So when on Saturday night, when it's nighttime, even on television, people get to say whatever they want. Don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So we feel we can dive more into good topics on a Friday night and then bring you, say, the aftermath of Saturday mornings.
The morning
after, what we talked about on Saturday night. And we just feel that's a better way to go, to give you more topics, to give you more conversation, to give you more in-depth of things that we're talking about.
So let's just talk about pillow talk for a minute, right? So a lot of times our best conversations are when we're lying in bed.
And it seems that when you're lying in bed, a lot of truth comes out, especially when you're laying there in an intimate setting or intimate moment, or maybe just after an intimate moment. The truth seems to come out more than just, say, during the day if you're just calling or just talking.
Right. So I got a question for you guys. So is your best talk like that night before, during, or after your romantic moment or your time together? Or is it after you've had a great night and then in the morning while you're lying in bed, you have your pillow talk? Wow. So we're going to launch Pillow Talk next Saturday, and we're going to tell you how James and I do, how do I want to say that? We're going to tell you
when we have our most intimate, our most conversations, how things come up that we're going to be talking about. When does that come up between us two?
Is it the night before, or is it the morning after?
Right. Or right after, whatever the case may be. It's when do you have your most intimate talks? When does a lot of the truth come out on what you're feeling, how your relationship is, and everything like that? When is that time that you talk most intimately? Is it before, after, or the next morning?
So you guys, we're going to jump right into our topic for this week. So every year in March, there is a National Black Marriage Day that most of us do not know about, right? And so this will be our 4th year celebrating National Black Marriage Day. It was started by Lisa Muhammad here in the DC area, the DMV. And it's celebrated across the U.S., but when I looked on the national calendar, they didn't have that on there. So I need to find out who to reach out to make sure National Black Marriage Day gets put on the calendar. But so all during this month, we're going to be talking about marriage overall. Like, why does marriage matter? Why is Black marriages so important? Why is marriage on the decline? How is marriage affecting the millennials and Generation Z? So today we're actually talking about why millennials and Gen Zers are not marrying.
Right.
But first, let's talk about this. Did you even know that marriage was on the decline? Like, did you know that less people are getting married? Did you know that, babe?
What? The marriage is on the decline?
Yes, we've talked about it.
And that's because you feel that
That was his prompt talk.
With the baby boomers, I guess that's us.
Yeah.
More
it is us.
we're, more of the baby boomers are getting married or did get married. But now, as it comes to the millennials and Generation Z, so to speak, they're inclined to not get married.
And why do you think that is, babe?
Well, for one, it's, even when we talk to some millennials, they're focusing more on maybe not the marriage part, but maybe more on their education. A lot of times, because we know right now with the rise in cost of living is naturally higher now. So people feel, especially millennials, when they graduate college and when it's time to go out on their own, that they have to have a certain amount of income to make it, which is true because the cost of living is higher. So they're focusing on, okay, let me get my degree, let me further my education so I can get a better job so I can be able to afford living on my own. Because that's what their focus is now, getting an education, living on their own before they jump into a relationship.
Right. So marriage is on the decline. They said, statistics says, especially this company that we looked up, the Pew Research Center did some research on marriages. And they noticed a trend that over the generations, the several last generations, marriage has been on the decline. But in 2020 and 2021, like it's really been on the decline. And so they noticed the trend that trend is amongst the millennials and the Generation Zs, or the Gen Zers, as they call them.
But you know what's funny, baby, about the Gen Zers? They're getting married more now only because of they're allowing same-sex marriages.
Yeah, that is one of the reasons.
And that is one of the reasons that the decline slowed down a little bit, because it was in a fast decline of getting married, and it slowed down a little bit because they allow same-sex marriage. And a lot of Generation Zers.
Wow. Oh.
Okay,
go ahead.
No, I've read articles on that.
Okay.
On Generation Zers now, they're allowing same-sex marriages, so now they're willing to get married to the same sex.
Right. So some of the other reasons that we found that millennials and Gen Zers are not marrying is that they are getting away from the traditional marriage, yep. Right? So they're saying no to traditional marriage. They don't feel like marriage is a little old-fashioned. They don't, see it as viable as they did back in the day, right. I would say. And did y'all know that, and we've talked about this before, especially during National Black Marriage Day month, is that marriage used to be like a marriage of convenience. Like couples married because families married families. It was an economical thing. It was to make sure they kept the riches in the family, make sure that the farm or the home and the land and all the things they own stayed within the family and was passed down from generation to generation. Y'all, that's why they are ahead of us, is because they believe in keeping things in the family and building legacy and passing things down from generation to generation. We haven't quite gotten there yet. And by we, I mean those of us of color have not quite gotten there yet. And I know some of you will say, well, we don't have anything to pass down. Well, some of us do and some of us don't. But how can we bridge that gap? That's a whole nother conversation. Right. So then as time went on, people started marrying for love. It stopped being that the parents would set up the man and the woman to get married, or families would merge together and their children would just get married. So then people started deciding they want to choose who they marry. And then they started marrying for love. And then as time went on, people started really marrying because of three reasons, right? There were three purposes they felt was for marriage: for companionship, for passion, and for purpose. Those were the three reasons at one time that people were getting married. Right. So marriage and why people marriage has changed over the years.
And now when you think of the millennials, they'll rather cohabitate, live together. Because they say, why get married and make that commitment when you could get the same benefits from living together? But when you really look at it, you can't get the same benefits. You can't get, a discount on, say, your medical insurance if you're just living together. You can't get the benefits, say, of a car purchase. All that type of things. You're not on the same account. All of those type of things, because a lot of millennials feel, I'm not going to open a bank account with this person, and we're just living together. We're in a relationship, we're living together, but I'm not going to take that chance.
Everything's still separate.
Everything's still separate.
It's basically
exactly
what he's just saying. And James is so right. So he's talking about some benefits of marriage, right? Some benefits of marriage, and we've talked about this before too, is you know, when you get married and one of you or both of you have a job and you get on each other's insurance on the job, it's a little cheaper coming out of your paycheck for a family versus you both got insurance coming out. You get you combine your life insurance, your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance. All of that stuff reduces when you move in together and you're paying all the bills together. We get one mortgage, you know.
And I don't know if you realize it, that from a man's standpoint, companies pay a married man a little more than they pay a single man. And that's due to the fact that they're thinking, okay, he's married, he has a family to support, he has a family to take care of, so we'll give him a little more. And I mean, and I know this for a fact, being when I was single, getting paid, and when I was married, getting paid, you know, going for a new job, they just offer a little bit more to married men.
Right. And then also, there's a lot of benefits.
Right.
When you buy a home and you're not married, you know, it's a more entanglement if you separate. And then also, you know, there's a lot of effects when you're not married and you're living together, because it's always like, this is mine and this is yours. When you're married, you become one. But it's unity.
And when you think of going back to the millennials, why they'd rather just live together than marry, because they don't want to make that final commitment. Because, you know, when people talk about marriage and then they talk about divorce, so to speak, they'll be like, okay, it's going to cost me more to break up with this person, get divorced, than if we just live together and one can just move out.
So James just gave you another reason why the millennials and Gen Zers are not getting married.
Right.
Because they feel like it's too high of a risk of getting a divorce. They don't want to go through the whole divorce thing and pay all that money to an attorney and go through all this legal paperwork. So that's another reason why they're not getting married. And then James also mentioned another reason is they rather live together. Well, they call that test driving marriage, okay?
Exactly.
So they want to test drive what marriage looks like, living together, trying to build a life together before they actually get married.
Right. But the thing is with that is that there's times when, if you're test driving, you feel, okay, why should I buy when I could keep test driving? You know? Why go into that like those baby boomers are getting married when I'm doing fine, just test driving, we're living together, we're doing our thing, and it won't cost me to walk away if I feel the need to walk away.
And you know what? My mom, my mom and all, when I was growing up, everybody would say, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Okay? Right. So ladies, I'm talking to the ladies right now. We more want to get married more so than the man does. Like if a man really wants to get married, he's not moving in with you. He's going to ask you to marry him. We tend to want to get married, and we're willing to wait around and hang on till he makes that decision. But guess what? If we're giving him everything he wants, we're living with him, we're sleeping with him, we're cooking for him, we're cleaning for him, we're giving him everything he wants. Why will he marry us? Why
would he want to when he's getting everything?
Right. But so is test driving good? I want to know. Do y'all think test driving the marriage works? I mean, some people make it work. Some people make it work. Do you think it's better to test drive marriage
been together for years
before you get married? And if you're test driving marriage, I got a little something to tell you guys. Look up the laws in your state, because in some states, after you've been living together for 7 years, you become a common law marriage. So whether you marry that man or you marry that woman or not, the law will consider you married. So if you break up after 7 years, guess what? That person getting half, whether you've signed that dotted line or not. So those are some things to be thinking about.
And when you move a little forward, say to the Generation Zers, or is that what they're called? The
Generation Z.
Yeah, Generation Z.
Or people, Zers, yeah.
You know, they're the ones where, say, when they graduate college and they have a degree, and it's hard. Let's be honest, it's harder to find employment nowadays. So what do? A lot of times they move back with their parents until they can get on their feet. And moving back with your parents before you get on your feet allows for less marriages.
Yes, that's another reason, y'all. Nowadays, it's too expensive for the young folks to afford their own place, so they're living with mom and them, and that is not the environment to get married.
Right.
We actually know friends whose children are living with them and they want to get married, but they're not in a place to get their own home and get their own place. So they're trying to save up their money and get better jobs and get a higher salary and get to a place where they can.
They don't want to struggle. They feel like if I get married now and move out, we get our own, we will struggle. You know, and they say we want to do it right and not struggle in the very beginning. But sometimes that struggle is what makes it great.
That's right.
If you believe that or not.
Y'all, there is no perfect life. There's no perfect marriage. There's really no perfect time. And I'm not saying if you're broke and you can't afford a place to stay to go run out and get married. But what we are saying, you know, I read this really good article that I watched a video where Steve Harvey said, when he met his current wife Marjorie, and they had talked about marriage, he says, no, I gotta build some things first, like I gotta get myself together. And she says, no, we're gonna build together. And they got married, and look at him now. He is doing better than he's ever done in his life because he got that wife that stands behind him and pushes him and supports him and encourages him and allows him to shine. So you never know what marriage is really going to do for you.
And I would say that, you know, learn how to be married. See, people will pay to get married. People will pay to get unmarried, but they don't want to pay to learn to be married, to learn how to stay married. You know, and that's where the key comes in at. You need to learn how to be married, learn how to stay married, learn what it takes to have a great marriage, to stay together. Because a lot of people are just getting married and then not learning what it takes to stay married and then end up paying to get a divorce because you didn't do the work before you got married. You didn't learn how to be married. You didn't learn how to stay married. You didn't learn what it takes to have a great marriage, the things you need to do, the things you need to, you know, maybe sacrifice. Because trust me, and we know that every marriage out there, it's not going to all be gravy. It's not going to all be good. You're going to come through trials and tribulations, but it's a matter of working through them together. See, a lot of these millennials don't want to work through the problems together.
That's right.
You know, they say, well, you know, that's your problem. That's not my problem. Or that's my problem. That's not your problem. I'll handle it because it's my problem. But when you're married, you learn to work through them problems together. And a lot of millennials don't want to work through them problems together.
Another reason why millennials and Gen Zers or Gen Zers or Generation Zs are delaying marriage is because women are, in some cases, the women are the ones delaying marriage. They want to get their career together. They want to get their education first. So, you know, back in the day, y'all know people got married at age 12 and 13, like really, really early. And then, you know, let's just say the 50s, 60s, you know, they were getting married at 18, 19, 20. That's why you can see these couples that's been married 70 years because they got married when they were 16 and 17 years old. It was allowed back then. But now women are delaying marriage and then, you know, to get their college degree and get their education together. So sometimes
to make sure they're on the right track.
Yeah,
before they get married.
Yeah, they're waiting a little later. And so they're saying that the college degree is delaying the marriages. Because let's think about it. A lot of people used to get engaged and married in college or right after college, right? But a lot of us are going on to get our master's degree. We're staying in college longer. So yeah, we're delaying it. But then also, did y'all know that people with a college degree marry at a higher rate than those who don't? Yeah, that's true. And so they're saying more educated people get married more often. And but then a lot of times the more educated people are the ones who are not having children also. So it's like there's this catch-22. Like, how do we continue to build the world and build our families and leave legacy if we're not having children? And I know children are a choice, absolutely. And I know some people have no choice. They just, you know, it can't happen for them. And we're not getting into that conversation.
Right. And then when you take into consideration, say the millennials, like now more millennials and more Gen Zers are coming from single parent homes. So when you see that, like, okay, I had a great childhood. I had a great life growing up. I went to college and my mother did that for me or my father did that for me by themselves. So if they can do it by themselves, I could do it by myself. Why do I need to get married when my mother didn't get married or my mother got divorced and she provided for me and everything was great? So why should I do that? Why should I go through that she went through getting married, getting divorced, when I could just not get married and still raise my child as I see fit and provide for them.
Right. And in our research, we learned that not getting married at all and really seeing marriage on the decline could really prove tragic. Because one thing that statistics have shown is that marriage helps to make a healthy family. Healthy families help make healthy communities, and healthy communities affect the economy. And so if people aren't getting married, then you create this big divide, and Black people are getting married less than people of other races. So then you get this big divide, because it is a proven fact also that marriage creates more wealth. So then if you've got the people of other races, they're getting married more, they're creating more wealth, and then you got us over here getting married less and not creating wealth, and then that divide just get further and further and further apart to what they call the Great Divide.
And when you think of leaving a legacy for your children and for your children's children, that comes with that wealth. Because when you're married and you're building wealth together, because you got to remember, if you're by yourself, it takes longer to build that wealth than it does with the two of you. I mean, you heard in the Bible, one could defeat 1,000, but two could defeat 10,000. You're building wealth together. So as you build wealth together, you have more to leave that legacy for your children and for your children's children, because you're showing them how to leave that legacy. You're showing them what to do. You're showing them what a great marriage can look like and how you build wealth together as one that you lead to them.
So, millennials, Gen Zers, tell us, what are you thinking? Why do you think that you guys are less likely to marry, or are you more likely to marry later in life? Or are you feel like you guys are married? Do you see your friends are marrying at a regular rate?
And
tell us your opinion.
Because I'm curious about that. If millennials, if you're in a relationship, are you inclined to get married to that person?
Are you planning to?
Are you planning to? Or what are you doing?
Top of mind?
Right. Or what are you doing? Are you just, we're just kicking it. We're just having fun right now. I don't know if I want to get married. I want to get my life together.
And if you're living together, are you test driving marriage?
Right.
Like, are you test driving it, or are you just test driving the relationship to see if you're going to stay together? Tell us. We hope that you guys will share this video out so that the millennials and the Gen Zers will see that this is what we're talking about, and it'll perk up their interest, because they really, don't see us talking about marriage. And we just have to say this too. Another reason why these young people aren't married is because they don't see positive examples of marriage.
Right, and that's the key, because they'll see things that say maybe single parents went through, and they'll say, okay, I don't want to go through that. So why should I get married and put myself through that?
You mean you'll see what their parents went through in the marriage and in divorce and all of that.
And they don't want to go through that same thing. They don't want to go through
that same thing. Or they just see people who are married to having raggedy, crazy marriages. They never hear about any positive marriage. And that's why all this month, for the rest of the month, starting next week, we're going to be promoting and sharing about couples who've been married for over 25 years or more. We're going to be recognizing them. We're going to be giving away some special gifts and prizes. And on March 27th, which is National Black Marriage Day, it's a national recognized day, you guys. We're going to be having an Our Marriages Matter symposium, and we're going to recognize 10 special couples who've been married over 25 years, and we're going to hear their story, how they make it work.
And when you think of the National Black Marriage Day and all, it portrays that positive image, because when you look at, say, television and movies and TV shows and the movies and everything like that, they don't like to portray strong marriages. For some strange reason, they always have, even when some of the greatest couples, you see them breaking up in a movie or breaking up in a TV show. They never have them together for a long period of time, no matter how great the marriage is. I don't know if it's for dramatic effect. I don't know if it's for, to get maybe ratings for that. But that's a lot of things people take into consideration. That look how they portray it, not only on TV, not only in the movies, but on the news. When they just talk about it, they always talk about marriage in a negative light. They never talk about the positive part of marriage.
Mm-hmm. So you guys, we want to know, if you got a young person, share this video with them, have a conversation with them. A lot of us we say we want to stay out of our children's business, and that's true.
Or
but what?
I was gonna say, or if you just ask your child, do you want to get married one day? And if you do, when do you think that is? Your 20s, your 30s, your 40s? Just to gauge an idea on when they think they might be ready, or even if they ever want to get married. Because I know a lot of women will say, well, I want to be married, I guess late 20s, early 30s, because I want to have children. And I don't want to have children in my 40s. So they say, I want to be married before I have children. And that's a lot of millennials also. They're saying, I want to have children, but I want to be married before I have children. But I don't want to be in my 40s having children. I want to have them maybe say early 30s or late 20s or whatever the case may be. So I want to be married around that time if they're even thinking about marriage. So I would just say gauge their interest. Gauge if, okay, do you ever want to get married? Talk to your children. Do you ever want to get married? And if you do, and if they say yes, when? What age range do you think that falls between, to gauge their interest and to see what age group there is? Because when we talk about millennials, when we talk about Gen Zers, we always want to gauge their interest in, do they want to get married, and when do they want to get married?
So y'all, the bottom line is our millennials, our Gen Zers, they're going to ultimately decide which way marriage goes. Is it going to decline? Is it going to increase? How's it going to affect our economy? Because you guys may not know, but marriage affects our economy. Single people make less money. Single people with children make less money.
Right.
Marriages affect more positive outcome with our children. It's just a proven fact.
Right.
Not that single people can't raise amazing children, because they can. But I'm just saying, statistically showing it can be tough.
And you know what, baby, when it comes to think about it, when you think about everything that's going on in the world now, right? The cost of living is skyrocketing. I mean, I know about the war in Ukraine, and I know about gas prices are skyrocketing, and groceries, and with the pandemic that was going on, it's starting to ease up some, but a lot of things aren't getting delivered in the grocery stores. And when they are, the prices are going up. So when you think about it from a single person standpoint, they have to pay a lot of money, say, for groceries and for just the cost of living. But when it's two of you married and you're having combined income, you can do it together, and it eases the pain, say, of that high price and the cost of living.
Y'all, I'm just going to say marriage is awesome. Marriage is wonderful. I'm sorry. Me, personally, myself, I don't want to live alone. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to do this life alone. I love having somebody that I can talk to all the time, share everything with, eat his food off his plate. I just had to throw that in there. Watch TV together, even go to the grocery store with, help me make decisions. Right. I mean, like I love that.
And it makes me think of that when it comes to, say, you getting up there in age, and say you may start having some health issues.
Oh, yeah.
If you're by yourself, you're taking more of a risk than when you have somebody looking out for you, especially a man. Come on, man. We don't go to the doctors unless we're really feeling sick, or unless something is really wrong.
Unless you're about halfway dead.
Right. And then at that time, it may be a little late, or it may be more tragic than you wanted it to be. But when you're in a marriage and you have somebody looking out for you, maybe they making appointments for you. Maybe they say, something's not right. I'm gonna make you a doctor's appointment, so to speak. So somebody to look out for you when that time comes, and that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Because you have their back. You hold
I look out for my baby.
Right. You hold each other accountable.
Yes.
As you get older and as you want to live this life throughout this life together.
So let's just recap. There's so many reasons why millennials and Gen Zers are not getting married. They're not getting married because of the risk of divorce. They're not getting married because they don't see positive representations of marriage. They're test driving marriage before.
Right.
They are putting education and careers before marriage. They oh my gosh, is there more? There's more. Those are the ones I can think of right now. And so we want to encourage you to get the facts.
Right.
There are a lot of benefits for getting married. And we've talked about some. There's benefits to getting married. Love is the key for getting married these days. But you got to add on the other parts of benefits too.
And when you think of, like you said,
and purpose is a key. That's why James and I, we always talk about vision for your marriage. Purpose in your marriage is key. Go ahead.
And when you think about that love aspect, if you love that person and you're in love with that person, then what are y'all doing? Are y'all just in love and not going anywhere? Or are you in love and you're taking that love to the next level? And what is the next level? Is it marriage? Because you can say, okay, I love this person, so we're going to move in together.
Yeah.
Fine. So if you love this person and you move in together, now what's the next step?
Yeah.
Is it becoming one? Or is it staying separate?
All right.
You have to ask yourself those questions.
Right. So you guys, again, we are having our Marriages Matter conference or summit at the end of the month. Our Marriages Matter. You can go to ourmarriagesmatter.eventbrite.com or just go to Eventbrite and type in, I wanted this to be a ticker. Oh, I can't turn it into a ticker because I didn't add it. But, go there and get registered to attend at the end of the month. And if you have been married over 25 years, guess what? We're looking for you. Send us your picture to info@marriagebuilttolast.com. Send us your picture. We actually have an image campaign going on, and I'll post the link. But send us your picture, and we're going to recognize you for hanging in there.
Right, and I was going to say, you know what is the key to that? Because when you think of couples that have been married for 25 years or more, even 20 years or more, they've been through some things.
That's right. Oh, God, we all been through some things.
And then when you think, wow, they've been together for they've been married for 25 years. So they've been through some things and they're still married. So if you listen to their story about what they may have been through and how they overcame it, how they came out on the other end, which made them stronger and probably which made them even stay together to this day. You need to take that into consideration, listening to what they may have been through. Like, wow, they've been through that and they're still married. That may give you some encouragement to like, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it.
That's right, y'all.
Come on.
You can do it. You can do it. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you on our National Black Marriage Day, November 27th. It's going to start at 2:00. It's not going to be long. It'll be short. We're going to have some good entertainment for you. And then also, if you've been married over 25 years, send us your picture. We want to hear from you. We want to know that you hung in there for over 25 years. I can't wait to our 25th day. We're going to celebrate big time. But thank you guys for joining today. And remember,
if you build it, it will last. And we will see you next time. We will see you on Pillow Talk Lounge.
Next Saturday, we're launching Pillow Talk Lounge.
The morning after.
Woo! Yes.